Welcome. It's great to be here. I'm Belinda Stevenson, Head of New Partnerships at Tennis Australia. I guess despite being from Tennis Australia, I am in fact a Kiwi before anyone makes that mistake. So as long as we avoid saying the numbers 6 and 10, we should be all right. Anyway, really looking forward to this chat with this star-studded lineup here. But before we dive in, a quick show of hands. I'd just like to see how many people have taken the time to meditate today. Okay, or maybe this week. Okay, there we go. Don't know. Deepak, does that show of hands surprise you?
No.
Well, we'll find out why. I guess let's start with you, Deepak. Can you give us what are the most effective strategies for promoting mental health and well-being in today's fast-paced society?
Are you happy to be here? Little more enthusiasm, please. Let me ask you the same question, but do not answer it till I raise my hand, okay? So same question, don't answer it till I raise my hand. Are you happy to be here? Yes. So the question is a thought, the answer is a thought. In between is you, which is not the mind at all. The mind is never at peace. So mental well-being is an oxymoron, because the mind always vacillates between pleasure, pain, sorrow, happiness. But behind the mind is this very peaceful presence, which is called the spirit or consciousness. So let me ask you the same question. Are you happy to be here? Don't answer it, just slip into it. So it's like the screen in a TV program or on your computer or whatever. The program is very melodramatic, but the screen is silent and timeless. So mental well-being is not possible. Spiritual well-being is the only well-being. And spirit is consciousness, the screen on which the program plays out. And meditation is a way of getting there. And when you do that, you also stimulate a part of the nervous system that's called the parasympathetic nervous system. So the dominant nerve there is called the vagus nerve. When you move your eyes, you've seen Indian dancers moving their eyes, Indian dancing, you stimulate the vagus nerve. When you smile, you stimulate the vagus nerve. When you sing, you stimulate the vagus nerve. When you take a deep breath, you stimulate the vagus nerve. Put your awareness in your heart, you stimulate the vagus nerve. Any martial arts, Tai Chi, dancing, yoga, athletics like gymnastics, all these things are very good for mental well-being, in addition to meditation.
I guess, one of the biggest excuses or, that prevent people from meditating is the busy lives that we lead. And, I'm guilty of this myself, full-time job, 3 children, a dog. I'm often up before 6 just dealing with one of them. Like, what's your advice for people who simply just feel like they can't fit it all into their lives?
I think you should just slice up your day. So there's sleep time, there's meditation time, there's exercise time, there's downtime, there's eating time, everything one thing at a time. Multitasking is impossible. People say they multitask. It's addictive, but actually you don't multitask. You move from one thing to another, not doing anything appropriately. So divide your day into sleep time starting at night, in the morning, meditation time, and then some downtime, entertainment time. Have time for everything, and then you have all the time in the world. Only busy people have time. Only busy people have time. People who are not busy make excuses.
Well, so Michelle, we'll go to you. Very busy lady. CMO of Ulta Beauty. How do you prioritise your own well-being, and both professionally and personally?
Where do you go after that? Well, hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm Scottish. I have a weird accent.
Great.
Yeah, so just track with me. No subtitles here. So, listen, during the pandemic, I think we all went through our own discoveries of what well-being means for us individually. That was when I joined the 5 a.m. club, and I realized that there will never be time. So the only way to make time is to carve it out in the morning. And I figured out for me personally, Michelle, it was about being up an hour and a half before my family woke up. Because I figured out that I personally need an hour to meditate on and off and to read and journal. For me, that was something that I need. And guess what? Now that I'm exercising every morning, I almost need 2 hours before anyone wakes up. So this is how extreme it is. Last week, I'm just watching, we all watch those inspiration videos. Mark Wahlberg's talking about 8 hours, non-negotiable sleep. And I love to sleep. I'm a 7.5-hour sleeper every day. And so I'm flying to Chicago. I live in Puerto Rico, by the way, but I commute to Chicago almost every week. So can you imagine how that tests you in your well-being strategies? So anyway, I have to wake up very early on Monday, and I have to be at the airport around about 6:30. But I got to do meditation, a workout, and pack a bag. So I'm up, and I went to bed at 8 p.m. on a Sunday night. My children were still awake. My husband put me to bed, and he says, okay, and I said, yeah, Mark Wahlberg says I need 8 hours. So I'm down my 8 hours, and I said to myself intentionally, to the universe, let me wake up when I'm rested. And I woke up naturally at 3:50 a.m. and went to the gym at 4:15. And here's what the weird thing was. Not the fact that I was out in the middle of the night going to the gym, is that the gym was busy. Because there are people there investing in their wellness, and that they realize that life is busy and that we need to make sacrifices. Now, if I then talk about today, I flew in again from Chicago last night, late. Mark Wahlberg's in my head, 8 hours. So we rejig, actually. My assistant's here, we rejigged the morning. We decided to push out meetings so we could get more rest and get more workout time. Great. But when I woke up, I realized I really wanted to work out longer outside because the sun was shining. And we know that the sun is good for our well-being. So I wanted to double down on that. I had to make trade-offs. And my trade-off was 20 minutes to shower and put makeup on and to wash my hair. Does anyone here know how to do that in 20 minutes?
I'd like you to give us some tips, please.
I think there's our get ready video waiting to happen. And what I realized today is that we own our choices of well-being. No one dictates. Well, sure, we have bosses that want those outlier meetings early. Sure, they do. But do you realize that more often than not that we own that? And that was probably today was the first day I realized, even as the CMO, yeah, I could change when I do my meetings in the morning. And I didn't need an hour to do all of this. Maybe I needed a bit longer. But anyway, that was a long answer to your short question. Apologies.
No, it was great. Well, it's actually a good segue, because my next question to everyone was actually like show of hands of how many people have been for a run or done some exercise today. A few more hands, and probably this week. Yeah, so I guess, Deepak, again, like just wanting to understand what sort of role physical health plays in the mental well-being, and how do people balance both? Because obviously people do take time to do the physical exercises, a far more greater show of hands versus taking the time to...
Well, mind and body are inseparable. So everything that happens in the mind, your body keeps score, as they say. Everything you do for your body affects the mind. And wherever a thought goes, a molecule goes. But wherever a molecule is, there's also a thought behind that. So physical exercise, of course, these days we talk about flexibility, strength training, and aerobic capacity. And they're all equally important. So if you do something like yoga or Tai Chi or Qigong or ballet, then you combine everything. You're doing flexibility. You're also combining that with strength, endurance, muscle building, and also improving your aerobic capacity. So I agree. I think running is great, but at a certain point you won't be able to do it. You know, it'll affect your joints and things like that. So try doing something which is moderate. Vigorous exercise is not necessary. If you do brisk walking and you can still breathe through your nose, that's good enough for aerobic capacity. And if you do any form of martial arts or anything that coordinates mind and body together, that's more effective because that once again stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system. Running stimulates the sympathetic nervous system. And it's okay, as I said, when you're young. But as you grow older, focus more on moderate exercise, breathing. There'll be a time in your life, perhaps you won't be able to do exercise, but you can always do breathing exercises. You can always do flexibility training, no matter what. And Pilates, things like that are very important.
Great. Michelle, bringing a little bit closer to home in terms of beauty and sport are having a bit of a moment, particularly with Win Beauty by Serena Williams. I guess what role do you see beauty playing in cultural moments like sport?
That's a great question. Does everyone here know Ulta Beauty? Yeah, right, good. So I don't need to tell you the role that we play, but I think what's important is that Ulta Beauty is in all states and that we serve all beauty enthusiasts from all ages and all walks of life. So it's really important when a retailer like us take this seriously, because all those little boys and little girls that are developing a relationship with beauty and sport and fitness and health, there is a destination for them that they consider joyful. They consider it joyful, and it reinforces good behaviors and good habits. So what is happening now is that there's this beautiful intersection of beauty and sport. And I see it myself. I'm a mother of two. I've got a 13-year-old girl. And I've told this story before, but I'll do a quick one. You know, Saturday morning, she plays soccer. And the next thing she wants to do is go to the mall, and she wants to spend all my money. And so she's spending all my money in her soccer gear. I kind of observed her recently walking in front of me with like this bravado confidence. And her hair was pinned back in a sweaty braid, and her soccer socks are pulled up. And I realized that she was proud that she was in sports clothes, and she felt good within her skin. Now, that's just a practical thing. What I'm seeing, remember, I've got 43 million members in our loyalty program, and many are Gen Z, and many are also parents of Gen Alpha and Gen Z. We see this intersection more and more again. And that is why we were so ecstatic when we were able to work exclusively, actually, with Serena Williams on her Win project and bring in a high-performance makeup brand to the market. We were able to serve people that want to look beautiful, and they want to feel good in their skin, but they want to do it whilst they're doing the things they love, which could be playing tennis. It could be playing a very athletic sport. So for us, we're very excited about this because, quite frankly, how beauty shows up in this world will really help the next generations have a great relationship with themselves. And aren't we lucky that we do have people that take this seriously? And for Ulta Beauty, this is a very pivotal moment in society, and we're really excited about shaping and bringing more joy to it.
Yeah, great. And Deepak, I guess the perception and awareness of mental health has really changed over recent years. I mean, just last week, my 5-year-old son climbed into bed with me, and he said, "Mummy, let's do some mindfulness." And I thought, well, I don't even think I knew what mindfulness was when I was 5 years old. I mean, just the change in which, the awareness of it. How is that impacting your work?
We need some clarity on the word mindfulness, okay? Because
I'll tell my 5-year-old.
Some people do confuse it. And the more accurate word would be being aware. So when you bring awareness, which is presence, to any experience, we can call that mindfulness. Bringing awareness to any of the five senses, sound, touch, sight, taste, smell. Bringing awareness to your body. Bringing awareness to your breath. Bringing awareness to your heart. Bringing awareness to any sensation, any image, any feeling, any thought. So awareness is also called presence. And there is no fatigue when you're present. There's no fatigue. Fatigue occurs because of the experience of time, but presence is not in time. So when we say the present moment, even that's in a way misleading, because the present moment is in time. Presence in the moment is not in time. And there's no entropy, there's no fatigue, there's nothing that we would call time in that moment. So we can do it anytime. Bring your presence right now to the space between you and me. And your mind is silent, right? Because space is timeless too. Okay? Space is imbued with presence. So there are many ways. This is called metacognition, is a better word, to be aware of experience as it happens. And then there's no experience of time. There's no entropy. There's no aging in that moment. Okay, that was the basis of something I wrote a long time ago, Ageless Body, Timeless Mind, where when your mind is present, zero entropy. Now, of course, it's hard to sustain that unless you get into the habit of doing it. Once you get into the habit of doing it, you probably will not need to meditate because you're in that experience all the time. Now, presence since we talked about beauty, so in the non-dual traditions of the world, Eastern traditions of the world, beauty, love, and presence are the same thing. So, there are Sanskrit words for it. One is Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. Satyam means existence, Shivam means presence, Sundaram means beauty. The other word is called Sat Chit Anand. Sat again means existence, Chit means presence, Ananda means joy. So beauty, joy, and love are exactly the same thing. When you bring presence to an object, doesn't matter what the object is. Bring presence to this microphone, it'll suddenly become beautiful. Bring presence to a person, we call it love. So presence brought to a sentient being is love. Presence brought to an inanimate object is beauty, and they're both the same thing. They're awareness, mindfulness.
Great. And you've both actually mentioned joy, and I know, Michelle, you mentioned the Joy Project, and your mission to bring joy to more people's lives, which is what you both have in common. Tell us, why is joy so important to Ulta Beauty?
Gosh, why is joy so important? Well, it really is core to our DNA. So if you ask anyone who walks through the double doors of an Ulta Beauty, how do they feel? And for them, they often feel like they're in a playground of zero judgment. It's a playground of discovery. It's a playground of being whoever you want to be, which is you. And you, without all of society telling you who you need to be. Ulta Beauty is a place that really you can be celebrated for who you are. So when I joined Ulta Beauty a year and a half ago, the first thing I did was go in store and meet the people that are serving our guests. And what they were telling all of us is that there's been a shift. We feel it culturally. We feel like people are coming into Ulta Beauty and there's something that's bothering them. And when we try and help them, what we realize is that there's something that is blocking them from living their dreams or buying that red lipstick or cutting their hair short, whatever it is. And what we found out through studying this is that people really, truly believe that they deserve joy, but only half of them actually feel like they can experience joy. That's huge. And what they're doing is when they come into Ulta Beauty, because it is a playground, they're finding connection with a community in a space that they love, which is beauty, and they're connecting with each other, and it's a way for them to celebrate each other. Now, I met a few ladies in this room today And I share compliments straight away because that's a thing we do. We share joy every moment that we can. I celebrated your hair. I celebrated your eyes with your dread. Like, you know, these are the things that we do. So we created a campaign. We created a campaign that was about, from Ulta Beauty, when you walk through our doors, that we're going to help share joy forward. And it is one person at a time. Now, here's the beautiful thing. We have over 50,000 associates, 1,400 physical stores. So the chances of us spreading joy every day is so high. You just have to believe that you can be a vessel for spreading joy. Now, I'm in the corporate world. I'm in a very different space from some people when they come to well-being. But let me tell you now, we have a store that brings wellness to guests at really accessible price points. People that thought that they couldn't have access to wellness. So why can't we extend that and make it wellness and joy? And that is where this Joy Project, and I would love to share more, but this is where Deepak and I have been bonding over for the last months, because we're excited about this shared vision that everyone deserves to find joy. And it can be through playing sports, it can be through dyeing your hair, it can be through taking a walk in the park. But we should all try and create and manifest a world where that is possible.
Do you want to add to that, Deepak?
Yeah, I think joy brings self-regulation, homeostasis, and healing in the body. And joy is spontaneous in children. And if you watch a baby, the baby is spontaneously joyful, unless it's wet or hungry, in which case it makes a noise, and hopefully the mother gives it some food or changes the diaper. But it's our natural state is joy. And when we confuse our self-image with our self, that's when joy is lost, which means the ego takes over. And then you're looking for validation. You think, I'm superior to someone, I'm inferior to someone, creates fear. So joyful people are actually have a lot of self-esteem. They're immune to criticism usually, although responsive to feedback, and they're fearless. And that's how children are before we confuse them that you're not good enough, or you're not healthy enough, or you're not successful enough, or whatever. This is called the hypnosis of social conditioning, which robs us of spontaneous joy. Now, having said that, there's a lot of research now on what makes people happy. In fact, there's something called the happiness equation. H is equal to S plus C plus V. H stands for happiness, is equal to S. S is set point in the brain for either happiness and joy or unhappiness. And the set point is unfortunately determined for you by your parents. If they are constantly criticizing you, condemning, complaining, playing the victim, then you have a set point for unhappiness. If your parents are always looking for opportunities, even in the midst of adversity, they find an opportunity or a challenge, then that creates a set point for happiness. And it usually the set point is fully determined by age 8 years. And it's responsible for 50% of your happiness experience on a day. Now, of course, if your set point freezes at age 8 and you're a male, you could run for political office. So it's not entirely a disadvantage to have a bad set point. Anyway, 50% of your set point comes from basically programming in childhood. Can we change it? Yes, through mindfulness or becoming aware that you have a problem. You reframe every adversity as a challenge and every challenge as an opportunity. You get into the habit of that. So that's 50% of your daily happiness experience. 10% comes from conditions of living, money. So if you're extremely poor, you'll be unhappy. If you're extremely rich, you'll more likely to be unhappy because you confuse your net worth with your self-worth. And so your worthiness comes from your bank account or your status or whatever. If you win the lottery, you'll be ecstatic in the beginning. 6 months, you'll plateau. 1 year, you'll come back to your set point. 5 years, you might be unhappier because now you want to park your money in the Bahamas or avoid taxes or worry about all those things. That leaves 40% of happiness that remains. That comes from our daily choices. Two kinds of choices we make: personal pleasure, shopping, alcohol, entertainment, sex, food. Do they make you happy? Yes, they make you happy transiently. But then you have to repeat the experience to feel happy again. So pleasure makes you happy, but if you have an addictive personality, then it turns out that you can't get enough of what you don't want anymore. But there's another choice that's called fulfillment. That comes when you have meaning and purpose in your life, and also if you can make other people happy. And it's easy to make other people happy. You did it all this evening. Attention, affection, appreciation, and acceptance. So attention means deep listening. Appreciation, noticing the uniqueness, like you did this evening with everybody that you met. And affection means you care. And radical acceptance. Everybody is a walking universe, and they are just good enough as they are. So that's called the happiness equation. And there's a lot of good research to back it up.
Amazing. I'll ask one sort of final question. I know there'll be a few from the audience as well, but I'm just interested to hear from both of you on sort of the role that social media is playing in mental well-being and mental health. And I guess, you know, what's your advice for people in terms of what they should or shouldn't be consuming in terms of keeping a positive mindset in regards to consuming social media?
Well, here's the good thing, that I sit here as a mother of two at 11 and 13 years old. And so I'm very, very thoughtful about what we at Ulta Beauty are putting out there for all generations of beauty enthusiasts. Because you get it right, you really can reset people's ability to see beauty as a force for good for all. You get it right. And that's the mission. And for us, we really want to change how, at least in our industry, there's been a lot of comparison. We want to change that story because it's not about comparison. It's about a sense of community. It's about a sense of being content and happy. And that's why, for me, the Joy Project, and I know it sounds like just any old brand campaign, this is going to become my life's mission now. And how we can use corporations and brands to infuse and help people through the tougher times in life, to make choices, even their set point might be one way, to make choices that help them see the silver lining. And so for me, social media is really critical. How many are marketeers in this room? Social is the heart of marketing now. So all of us, we all have a responsibility. We are shaping how the young generation are viewing this world. Of course, it's up to them how they will go forward. And so please join me in this mission, because I think actually we can make impact and we can make a difference.
Social media and technology are here to stay. I mean, if you don't use it, you become irrelevant. That's a Darwinian principle. Once a technology is there, it can't go back. It's like a child that's born, can't go back to the womb. So that's number one. Number two is, how do you use social media? Are you using social media to create insecurity, which is what happens, you know. Most of people are scrolling up and down to see how many likes they have. But if you use social media to create a pandemic of joy, then, you know, that's a very worthy thing to do. You know, we are at a conference of brands. What's a brand? A brand is a story. A brand is a mythology. The word myth means mother. It's the womb of creation. And successful brands have a very good story. People don't buy your product, they buy your story. They don't buy your service, they buy your story. So I would say to anyone in the branding world, what's your story? Is your story uplifting? Is your story bringing joy to people? Is your story validating their self-esteem? Or is your story making them insecure? If all you have to do is watch TV, and you'll see every pharmaceutical company is selling a story of fear. You have these two people playing tennis on the screen, and it says, you should take this, and it can give you a heart attack, and it can cause cancer, and you can die from it. And in the meanwhile, there's nice music, and they're playing tennis. This is the kind of branding that is fear-based. And most of the brands that I see, at least in the well-being industry, are fear-based. I think with what we have with Michelle is the desire to create a pandemic of joy. Only a pandemic of joy can heal the world. Joyful people don't hurt other people. Only hurt people hurt people. So it's a great story. And therefore, it's a great brand.
That's great. Right, I'll open it up to the floor for questions.
I have a question, Deepak. With a certain election going on, I was wondering how you can take a few moments to kind of put, this craziness going on in our country, and take a few minutes yourself and just come across some calmness, amongst your friends and your families. It just seems like everybody's so uptight right now, and politically and, across the country. Come and spend some time in Europe this summer. Everybody's so much more relaxed over there than here. So I was just wondering if you could maybe give us some advice on, how we might take a moment to.
Let's give an experience. So close your eyes, please, and put your awareness in your heart, and mentally ask yourself, who am I? Don't try to answer the question, just ask that question. Who am I? Be aware of any sensation, any image, any feeling, any thought that may come to you. Who am I? And now ask the question, what do I want? What do I want? Just that question. And don't try to answer it. See what comes up. Any sensation, any image, any feeling, any thought. And now ask a third question. What is my purpose? Why do I do what I do? Once again, any sensation, any image, any feeling, any thought. What is my purpose? Fourth and final and most important question. Notwithstanding what is happening in my life or in the world, what am I grateful for? Gratitude will open the window to your soul. What am I grateful for? Being aware of any sensation, any image, any feeling, any thought. Now feel your body, and just implant the intention, joyful, energetic body. Joyful, energetic body. Bring your awareness to your heart with the intention, loving, compassionate heart. Bring your awareness to your third eye, between your eyebrows, with the intention, quiet, creative mind. Creative mind. And now let your awareness move outside the boundaries of your skin, into space and time, with the intention, lightness of being, lightness of spirit, joy. Feel your body again. And slowly open your eyes. So you can start your day with those 4 questions. You don't need to know the answers. Life will move you to the answers. Who am I? What do I want? What's my purpose? What am I grateful for? And then 4 intentions. 1 for the body, energy and joy. 1 for the heart, love and compassion. 1 for the mind, creative mind. And then 1 for the spirit, lightness of being. It's as simple as that. You start your day with that, and then let the day take care of yourself. You don't need. I don't make goals anymore, because everything happens in the moment anyway. So everything happens when it happens, and you should be able to choose spontaneously in the moment without having to worry about the future or regret about the past. The political situation and the turmoil will find its homeostatic point at some point. I think we're living in times of great turbulence, but all great changes are also accompanied by great turbulence.
Any other questions?
I thank you so much, by the way. I love everything each of you said, and really appreciate the time and transparency and depth that you've given to all of us. I think my question is more about democratizing. You're talking a lot about the access to joy. And I think, when I'm thinking back on my own journey, I didn't know joy was possible until I found it one day. So my question to you is, how are you providing access to joy to people that, don't even know it exists?
Well, we are using, at our foundation, and our CEO is here, Punacha Machaya. We are using AI to create part of this experience. And if you have time, you can go on your browser and check out digitaldeepak.ai and ask any question. In the question you asked, ask Digital Deepak, my digital twin, any question about mental well-being, physical health, or spirituality in English, in Arabic, in Spanish, or soon in Hindi, and maybe in Chinese after that. So our intention is to actually help people with all the available content that's already there, and make it free, for everyone.
I think Joy found you, my dear. I don't think Joy was always there and she was like saying hello. Well, at least in a corporate environment, what we do to make it accessible is wellness, right? We have a wellness shop and all those bases, because actually if you're well, healthy, inside out, it will make it a little bit easier. It definitely will. And then creating campaigns like this and partnering with other people. Partnerships allow us to spread the word. And then also in the moments of having conversations and having moments of connecting with each other, leave this room today and promise me you will compliment someone. Create your own compliment chain. It's as simple as that. Or it could be as complicated as you want. And I genuinely think spreading the word about just one human connection can lead on to multiple human connections That's the impact that we can have. Now, I will also say, joy is a choice. And it's dead easy to say that when you're not in a dark place. And I have been in dark places like we all have been. I've been in one recently. I remember my husband saying the exact same words to me, being grumpy back. And I still remember when I went through my first hurricane in Puerto Rico. And, when a hurricane hits in Puerto Rico, there are two things you got to buy. The first thing is diesel for your generator, right? You got to get diesel for the generator because electricity goes out. And the second thing is beer. And because people are having a party. And when I went to the petrol station, sorry, I'm so British, petrol station, when we went to the gas station, there were musicians in a band playing. And they were singing about a gift with purchase if you bought a 6-pack of Medea. And it was like so fun. Because what I realized is that this culture decided to choose joy in a scary moment and to come together as a community. So when I was in my dark moment, just recently, by the way, and I'll have it again, and we'll all have our ups and downs, I remember those people at the gas station giving out baseball caps if I bought a 6-pack. And I thank them for the life lesson.
It's wonderful. Any others before we close?
So I love that you brought up community. I've been thinking a lot about loneliness. And I feel like just looking at some of the data, specifically, I was looking at a chart that plotted like friendships from 1991 to 2021, and people who said they had close friendships had declined. And so I'm wondering, thinking about a community like Puerto Rico and how they chose community, and then there's this decline of friendships, like why? And how do you turn something like that around? If the joy is found in the community, how do you turn it back around?
In Eastern wisdom traditions, they say there are 3 things you need to create what you're saying. One is community, it's called Sangha. Second is service. And the third is some kind of reflective spiritual practice. So Seva means service, Sangha means community, and then service, community, and a practice, whatever it is, reflective inquiry, together. And we can do that online and we can do that offline. So we have a program at our foundation again, it's called neveralone.love. Check it out, neveralone.love. And it's about that, creating online communities. But now we're in the process of doing that in New York City with Gen Z and us to create a community in New York where people do something every week that is not about themselves, that is serviced for a cause or for the community, where they get together for a meditative or mindfulness practice, and when they also support each other through the 4 A's that I mentioned: attention, affection, appreciation, and acceptance. I think that is the only way to create a community experience. You can do it online, but it's also important to do it in the community itself. And that's a time-tested formula. And these days, people are also talking about emergence. When you have shared vision, maximum diversity. I look in this room, maximum diversity. You can see maximum diversity of color, gender, ethnicity, maximum diversity, shared vision, complementing each other's strengths, supporting each other, and also having some kind of emotional and spiritual bond together. That is called emergence, and it's very much needed right now.
Well, thank you very much, both of you. I know I can speak for everyone. This has been a fantastic end to what has been a great day. I know Punacha Machai, I hope I've said your name right correctly, CEO of the Chopra Foundation, is just going to come up and say a few words about an exciting project that you're working on.
So I think in the spirit of sharing and giving, I want to compliment you all for being here. So at least, that's giving acknowledgement here. So I think in the Chopra Foundation, Dr. Chopra's, our vision is to really create a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. There are 3 areas we focus on. One is mental health and suicide prevention. That's called the Never Alone movement. Because every 40 seconds, we lose someone to suicide globally. In this great country, every 12 minutes, and 22 veterans every day. So we have really dedicated ourselves to really creating intimacy. So the world, we're super connected, but very lonely. How do we get more intimate? And to Dr. Chopra's point, we are creating communities in New York. So if you want to get involved, want to be part of this, get involved with us. The second area of focus is really looking at this whole area of longevity. So the Western world is fascinated by reverse aging. We have Brian Johnson. People know Brian Johnson, don't die. But we think about let's live. So it's talking about more than longevity, it's about health span. It's the wisdom of age and the vitality of youth. How do you age gracefully? And that's one of the best things I love about Ulta. And the third area of focus for us is leadership, the soul of leadership. It's not about your LinkedIn profile, but your soul profile. What Dr. Chopra said, who am I? What do I want? What's my purpose? What am I grateful for? So in this particular thing, one of the things, the question, how do you democratize access? So we are organizing a symposium called Sages and Scientists Symposium. So if you go to the website, sagesandscientists.org, that's on September 13th through 15th. Any question, you're talking about brands. If you want to understand the future of well-being, we have everybody from everything about CRISPR, Samarth Kulkarni, the person who sequenced the human genome, Craig Venter's team, Wei Wu, talking about what is the future looking like in well-being and longevity. There's 2 panels on mental health. Everything about what is mental health, but the question, what do I do about it? Everything from nutritional psychiatry to metabolic psychiatry to VR, AR, XR. What are the different modalities we look at when we look at mental health? How does gaming help mental health? So we have an entire conversation on the dialogue between mental health. The third thing we have, the next track is about future of humanity, right? What happens to humanity? Deepak and Sam Altman will be talking about AI and consciousness. What does it mean? What does sentience mean? How does AI help people create a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world? And then talking about what's Africa, what's India, what are the different conversations? And the last track is the future of consciousness. Basically, do we have extraterrestrial life? So we have Dr. Avi Loeb talking about what does that mean? Are humans supposed to be interplanetary? Is lunar and soul and going to the moon, is that part of what we need to do? So Dava Newman from MIT Media Labs and Anusha Ansari are going to be speaking about that. So join us for Sages and Scientists. It's an amazing event with about 100 plus speakers. And what I've done specifically is that if you go to the website, we have actually created a code which we will share. It's basically called Brand NYC, BRAND NYC. And it's going to give you $250 off the ticket, which is $750, so it's $500. And 100% of all the proceeds go towards mental health. And everything we raise, every dollar goes towards helping a community. And some of the programs we have done, which I think are pretty impactful, we have worked with brands like Stella McCartney, to bring about equine therapy to help our veterans. So we work with veterans in equine therapy. We have done campaigns in Africa on raising awareness and education of FGM. And once again, looking at different things we can do to bring about mental health. So any questions, let me know. Would love to see you all at the Sages and Scientists Summit. Thank you.